Good morning. So you can take GitHub from a developer, but you can't get a developer out of GitHub. So I decided to focus this episode on how to use GitHub for your continuous integration instead of going and using what is provided to you by the infrastructure, which um, I agree, perhaps GitHub we are all used to work with it, so it's probably a better choice, easier to manage as well. Okay, so let's start. This is the plan. I'm gonna go first of all clone a basic project to be my foundation for my uh, code. I'm gonna sync it with my private Git repo, so with my GitHub repo. So maybe I can change this. I'm gonna create a platform as a service application on IBM Cloud, and this I'm not gonna care anything about this because I just need it to be deployed so that I can actually override it. I'm going to add continuous delivery to it, and then I'm going to configure the continuous delivery so that instead of looking at the current Git configuration, it looks at my GitHub instead. I'm going to configure the delivery pipeline, and then I'm just secretly hope that everything works out. Let's see if I can get this all to work out. So let's start with cloning the application. I'm gonna get an application that I know that already works, and so I'm gonna use this get started node. Just use the magic of Google and look for node IBM Git. That should come up. So okay, so let's start with it. I'm gonna clone it. Yes, I'm gonna clone it locally. And this, of course, requires that you have already configured GitHub for your system. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, I'm gonna git clone. I'm gonna call it git experiment. So that's just key for my SSH key. Git experiment ls. Let's see. We can go and look at what the project does. This is a very super simple application, so it shouldn't take long. Okay, npm start. So this is the normal, almost hello world application that comes with the system. Okay, let's have a look. Localhost 3000, and that's all the application does. Okay, so that's what we want at the moment. What is the name? Alessio. There you go. Cool. Now, next part. So we have achieved the first part. The second part was sync it with my private Git repo. So that means that first of all, I do need to make a repo. So let's go into my repo. I'm gonna say new repo. I'm gonna call it git experiment. No description. I'm gonna make it public just to make my life a little bit easier. I'm gonna keep everything as it is because I'm gonna change it with my stuff anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna create a repository. Yes. Okay, so that happened as it should. So my repo is now ready. So the next part would be to actually synchronize it. Just making some minor fixes to my UI. There you go. The joy of going live. So everything seems to be working here. So just to be sure, I'm going to remove any reference to pre-existing Git. So I'm going to do rm-rf.git. And this is just to remove any references to the previous Git configuration. I'm going to go git init. Yeah, so now it sees as an empty one. Let's see, I'm gonna do a git add everything. Yeah, and then I'm gonna do git commit minus m, my first commit. Yeah, and then git push, and I would get the error saying that I need to set the upstream. Oh, that's right, I haven't added this line, which is the remote. Okay, so I'm assuming that you guys have already worked with Git in the past. That's done, and then I'm gonna do a git push origin master. As you know, these kind of lines of code, they're one-off. You don't need to do them all the time. They just need to be configured for your Git. My key, of course, as I mentioned in the past, do not put a password or passphrase on your private or public key. Just slows everything down. Okay, so if everything went according to plan, let's see if there is code here. Yes, we do have code, which is great. Now, the thing that you can do, the reason for doing this is so that you can use Git to actually configure working with your teams. So you could go to settings, for example, and you can go to manage the access. And here you can invite people to collaborate with you. So if you're working on a team project, just invite people over here. And then anyone who makes a push, or depending on what restriction or access you give, then it will collaborate and it will work together on the code. Okay, so the next part, what was my next part? Create a PaaS application on IBM Cloud. Okay, so let's go back to that. Yep, so I'm here, I'm going to create a resource, and you can probably hear my pets going crazy today. So the application that I'm making, you don't really have to worry about it, what it does, what it will not do, because all the code is going to be rewritten anyway. I'm making it simple. There are more ways of doing it, so I'm going to choose public application. I'm going to keep everything as it is, and I'm just going to give it some name. So SDK for Node.js, because it's an and that's going to be Git experiment. You can give it any name, really. This is just to make sure that you get the domain and the URL, really. MyBlueMix.net for the domain, just because it's shorter. Anything else? No, not really. That's all. And so that should be happening, and I'll be back in a minute. So the application is now being deployed, so we can go and have a look. But we don't really have to worry about this because, well, we're not really going to care much because this is going to disappear soon. All right, so let's start adding the continuous delivery. So we go to overview. We can go to the continuous delivery. We are going to enable the continuous delivery. And it's telling us that the only thing that we really need to do is to add the key, which we're going to be doing. So we just go new, we say okay, done. So that's all done. Let's see if we need to change anything here. So this is going to create a default one. I'm just going to create the default one, and then we're going to change it for us. So yes, so go to create. So what this is going to do is going to create the Git track issues and also create the internal Git repository, so internal to IBM Cloud. Okay, so because a lot of people find some difficulties in using this, and as I said before, a lot of people are just very much used to working with their GitHub account, which is fair. I mean, even I do that. This way I don't have to go and change names and usernames around. So we're going to configure this so that I can use my GitHub directly instead. So to that, we're going to add the tool. We're going to be adding GitHub. We're gonna clone it. No, we're gonna use an existing one. So my GitHub is already configured. So as you can see, it can actually go and find my repository. So if you haven't configured, just go and configure it. It's just a very simple 1-minute step. Repository, so it can find all my repositories, which I probably have too many. And this is my Git experiment. Yeah, we can keep track of the issues. Yes, let's go and create the integration. So this is now connecting the two. So if everything goes well, let's see, we have done this, we have done this part, we have created the application, we add the continuous delivery, we added the repo, and now we just do the last two parts. And for some reason, this thing keeps on growing and shrinking out of proportions. I'm not really sure why. I have to find out at some stage. Oh, I know why. So I should not have done that. Okay, so we go back in here. It's just because there are two different types of screens. Okay, so now as you can see, we have two new channels. One is issues with GitHub and one is GitHub, the actual repo. So what happens if we click here? I think it will go directly to GitHub. So yep, let's go back where we came from. So the only thing that we need to do now is to tell the pipeline not to listen on the internal Git, this one, but to listen on GitHub instead. So let's go and do that. So what we're interested in is the build stage, because this is what happens when a change gets called. So let's configure this, configure the stage. And what we're interested in is the input. So the input is the Git repository, yes, but okay. So next time, don't give it the same name. At least you can tell it from the Git URL which one it is. So okay, so it's calling from the Git URL and calling to the master. When a commit is push. Okay, so these are all things that we want to leave. So I'm gonna save it. So this hasn't run yet. So let's try to do this. Let's try to do this. Let's see, make an actual change. So I'm going back to my code. I'm gonna do a small code change using my just using the editor. Let's have a look. Let's go into the what can I look at? CD public, I guess, which I don't have in here. Oh, that's because it's in the views. Yes, ls. Let's edit the index. I'm gonna make a very small change just to trigger it. So where is it? Okay. So I think I had this application running, correct? No, not this. Oh, okay, what's this? Hello World application. So it says welcome here. Maybe I can just go and change that so that it looks different. Now, I'm not sure exactly. Oh, it's using some translation thing as well. Oh, this is more complex than I would have thought. Okay. I just want to go and make a small change. I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to change the title. There you go. The title shouldn't change. Shouldn't be a problem. Actually, everything is using I-18. So for people who don't know, I-18 is like an international, uh, dictionary. Is to basically create websites that have. I'm gonna write another H1 here. Alex's change, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to add everything. So I-18 is basically language library for if you need to create a website which has different languages, like want to switch between English and Chinese. Git add all, git commit -m, changed title, I guess, and then I'm gonna push it, and I'm gonna put my password. So okay, so that has been pushed. So now if we go back to here, as you can see, there you go, you can see this this has already been picked up. It is now building it, and as soon as this is built, then it should go into the deployment stage. It shouldn't take long, maybe a couple of minutes at the most. This is a very simple application. And as soon as that is done, we can go and look what's happening in here. So we can see that it's already passed everything. Let's go back and see the actual stages. So now it's just deploying it. I should probably speed up this part for next time. And keep in mind that this is happening all in the background, so you don't really have to stay here and look at it. It's just a matter of you work and then you deploy, and that's it, done. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just let it go. So once again, as developers, we don't really care much about this. All we care about is just build applications. So worry less about this. I might just go and make it faster after this. Keep also in mind that we're using the free account, so we probably have less precedence on other work. So our machine for deploying is probably slower than the others. Okay, I passed. So if everything goes well, just checking what it says. Okay, there's some reports here, or good or fine. So you can see everything that happened. Let's have a look exactly. Yes, okay, yes. So it did work. That's our application. Not sure, hello. Okay, well, we probably broke something into doing that, but into making that change. But yeah, okay, it's deployed. So there you go. So now you can work as a team properly. Just use normal GitHub and just add participants, and then every participant pushes their code in. That's all. So you can keep track of things. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.